It takes too long, it costs too much, and it fails too often. The statistics are that drug discovery typically takes anywhere from 5 to 15 years, that it succeeds less than 5% of the time, and that it costs over $1 billion for approved molecules on bringing new therapies to patients. And while that is a laudable goal, we also need firms, technology firms, not biotech firms, that are investing in the solutions to make the process faster and to sharpen the axe of drug discovery. AbCellera was founded with that idea, that we would invest long-term in teams and technologies and work broadly with the biotech industry from small firms to large firms, because we believe that if we can put the best science and the best innovators in touch with the best technologies, we'll get faster drugs to patients and everyone wins.
Hi everyone, welcome to Single Value. So today we're going to look at another IPO, and this is called AbCellera. It is coming onto the market tomorrow, 11th of December. If you missed out on DoorDash, Airbnb, C3AI, don't worry, those ones were too high in value and it just didn't justify making that decision to buy any of the stock. At least it didn't for me anyway. Like if I brought into it and it fell, I kind of knew that the risk would be too high, and that's always the risk when you buy into anything that sells at a really high valuation. But I don't think you have to worry about this one. So currently the company is trying to raise $403 million for its IPO, giving a share price of $17 to $18 and giving a valuation of $4.9 billion. But even if it doubles, I feel like you can still justify buying into this, because in the short term, I think $10 billion is a decent valuation for this company. But in the longer term, I kind of see this company doing, if it does well, out of its, this company has 94 programs. Like, when was the last time you saw a biotech with more than 10 programs? This one has 94, which is really, really incredible. And it does this with 26 partners. And that's where I'm seeing that large valuation continue to grow even larger, that if potentially 2 or 3 of these discovery programs work out really well, this company could see its valuation go to 20 to 30 billion in a very short time frame. So I kind of really like this company in terms of its tech. I like it in terms of how well it's going to scale. And it's definitely, the potential has definitely been seen by guys like Peter Thiel and Bill Gates, who are invested in this company. It's not actually often that you actually see those two together in these companies. Like whenever Peter Thiel is in a company, we all get excited. Whenever Bill Gates is in a company, we get excited. But what happens when they're both in a company? That must just be like all the excitement in the world. But I think this one's come under the radar because there's been Airbnb and DoorDash and C3AI. So in terms of IPOs, this week has been incredibly exciting. So yeah, I think this one's going to really finish off the week in a beautiful, beautiful way. Hopefully I can buy some of this one, and then I'll be really happy for the rest of the week. So this one does an AI-powered drug discovery platform. And you know the power of AI, how it's able to just scale anything, and the longer it exists, the more better it gets. And this is one of those companies that, Peter Thiel and Bill Gates have seen the potential of this company. And also, the proof is really in the pudding, that the fact that they have 94 discovery programs really shows the power that they have on their platform to really just do so many projects and actually have an idea that they can actually succeed. I can't even remember the last time I've seen a biotech have this many projects, and I've seen a lot of biotechs. Like in terms of investing, there's 2 categories that I always find incredibly difficult, and that's the one. And one of them is biotech, and one of them is mining, because what they do takes so long that you actually don't get to see numbers in the revenue in the present. You actually have to see it in the potential future. And that's where it makes it difficult. So in general, like when someone asks me to evaluate a biotech, I'm kind of tossing and turning whether it's a good idea, because the valuations, the potential, it's kind of difficult sometimes to meet in that halfway mark. But for this one, I don't have as much difficulty, because I can see where this company leads. I can see the potential that it has. And this one is more clear-cut than a lot of biotechs that I will look at. And the same with mining, unless they're actually mining and selling their product, because mining a product from the ground can take as long as up to 7 years. So that's an incredibly long time frame, especially for a person like me. I think for most people, 7 years would be a very long time, or even 5 years, or never mind 5, even 3 would be quite long. But that's kind of the time frames you have to get used to when you're investing in mining and biotech companies. So that's a really tricky part. But I really like this company because it has so many projects in the pipeline that you're just going to get, once they start working out, you're going to get so many projects working out, and so many of those, the revenue numbers are starting to grow from there. If we look at the revenue numbers, they've just grown from like 8.8 million in 2018, 11.6 million in 2019. And then it went to about 25 million for the 9 months in September. But we know from this part here that for the full 12 months, it's actually gone to 28 million. So that's really incredible, particularly with its revenue growth basically going more than double of last year. So you can kind of see that potential. They've got a lot of programs in the works. Their revenue is growing incredibly quick. So the potential of this company to go ahead of every other company that is on the market in terms of, and in a very similar stage. Like, I think this is probably one of the fastest ones growing. And if you're able to just like catch yourself on this rocket, you could definitely make some really nice gains in the long term. If you talk about the short term, I don't know about the short term, because biotechs are always really difficult to pick and choose in the short term. Particularly if you're looking at a trade for this type of company. But I can definitely see the long term being incredible for this company. There's just so much to like about it. One of the programs that they have is a partnership with Eli Lilly. So if you don't know Eli Lilly is a $154 billion giant. So when a giant comes knocking at your door, it shows you you're doing some seriously good tech. Like the last time a giant came knocking on another biotech company recently was a company called BioNTech, and this is a company that in the past 12 months, it's slightly longer than the past 12 months, probably the past about 15 months actually, they've gone from about $13.80 to $134 in the extended market hours trading, which is close to 10 times, which is pretty incredible, right? So it kind of shows you that potential. When things work out for these companies, they really work out in a really, really great way. And this company's gone from a valuation of just over 3 billion to about 31 billion. And I kind of see the same potential working in the same way for AbCellera when things work out really well. So they do have a partnership with Eli Lilly, and they managed to come up with a treatment in 90 days. They did find there was a 72 risk reduction in hospitalizations, although the drug didn't prove useful in helping hospitalized COVID patients. The therapy can be useful to prevent patients from reaching that level. So they've found what they've produced for the Eli Lilly is more something that can help prevent things getting worse, but it hasn't proved to be a really good cure for anyone that's in a serious condition, but in a sense still very useful. But you got to remember, this is just a partnership. This is Eli Lilly leading the part, and AbCellera kind of just providing their tech. So if we go through a timeline, October 7th, Lilly submitted an emergency use authorization to FDA, granted on the 9th of November. Lilly announced an agreement to supply 300,000 vials to the US government at $375 million. Lilly announced a fixed price contract for $312 million with the US Army. Lilly agrees to supply the Canadian government with 26,000 doses for $32.5 million. And the US government decided to come back for more, and they ordered 650,000 doses at $812 million. So here you can kind of see In terms of contract value, that's already worth over $1.5 billion. AbCellera does get a cut of this due to AbCellera's partnership with Lilly. The company is entitled to a percentage of the proceeds. So that's the really cool thing. Like, this company has so many projects in the works, it supplies its tech and it takes its cut. So it doesn't actually take the big risk, in a sense, because they supply that tech, and actually the risk is actually on Eli Lilly to produce and get all these things to market. And then once they do that, they give a cut to AbCellera, and AbCellera is actually taking the lower risk position in this. So that's the really cool part about it, that you've got a company that's, in a sense, they're really advanced, they grow really well. They're kind of like the company that supplies the shovels to or the pickaxes to the gold miners, and Eli Lilly is the gold miner. AbCellera supplies all the equipment and it gets a cut, and the bigger risk is on Eli Lilly. So that's a really good thing. Like, the risk actually isn't that high for this company. That's why I can afford to just go and take 94 discovery programs, which is excellent on this company's part. So I kind of see it heading towards the same trajectory as BioNTech has with its kind of like partnership with Pfizer, because it just really proves you have something great in the works. So in terms of recent news by the company, AbCellera was granted an interim authorization by the Canadian government in November 20th to treat COVID-19. Peter Thiel joins AbCellera's board on November 19th. And in AbCellera and Invetx, or expands multi-year antibody discovery collaboration in animal health. So you can kind of see that it's not just limited to humans, and that's also one of the partnerships. They also made an acquisition. They brought another technology stack company, AbCellera discovered antibody receives US FDA emergency use as a monotherapy. There's plenty of things happening, and like, this is all in the space of a very short period of time. Like, this company is, in short, incredible at what it does, and even if it doubles on the IPO price, I'm still going to buy this one. Like, it's going to really have to increase by a phenomenal amount for me to not to take a shareholding in this one. The higher the valuation, the less I buy, of course. This one, I like it a lot. Like, this one, I don't mind buying it and holding it for a much longer period of time, because there's just so much to like about this company. And this is kind of potentially like the biotech lottery. And this one has an incredibly large chance that if it succeeds in what it does, given how quick it can scale, the valuations for this company is just going to increase substantially. So let me know what your thoughts are about this company, or if you have any questions, just post below. Until then, good luck everyone.